Brown Cliffside Outfitters. Today's video, as you can see, we're back in the kitchen. So the video today is going to have something to do with cooking. We are this close to the opening of deer season here in North Carolina. And so we've got to start making some victuals, some snacks, and some groceries to take up to the outpost that's up in the mountains where we hunt. And one of the things that that's a real treat for all the guys is a pickled sausage. So I'm going to show you how we make our pickled sausages. I'm going to do a basic recipe that we use, and then if you want to expand on that recipe by adding some different stuff, maybe we'll talk about some of the things that you could add to it. But I'm going to show you the basic recipe, get you started, and then you can just go wild from there. So let me get a few things together and we'll get started. Okay, so as you can see, we've got some sausages here. Got a couple different kinds. I like to mix it up to try different things. And we also have some jars. Now, you can these happen to be a quart canning jar, wide mouth. That's why I can get my big mitts down there and get me one. And or if you poke them with a fork and you're trying to drag one out, you know, and it gets hung on a small jar. But anyway, this is just a convenience thing. You use any kind of jar you want to. But at any rate, we've got some brown sugar. We've got some salt, we've got some pepper. I'm going to put this all together for you. But the first thing and the main ingredient is the sausage. This is just a vacuum packed. Let's see what we got. We got bratwurst here. Now, the main thing that you want to look for, and you may not be able to see this, but I'm going to tell you it's on the pack. But you look for a fully cooked sausage. This sausage and this sausage here, these are some Roger Woods. We're going to try these. I've never tried these before. But there again, you want to look for right there on the pack. See it right there? It says fully cooked. We want fully cooked sausages. You can't do this recipe with raw meat. You've got to have a cooked sausage. And the first thing we're going to do is you're going to get them out of here, and we're going to cut them up into serving size pieces, whatever that may be for you. Could be a half sausage, could be a little bitty section of sausage. You can pack whole sausage in there if you want to. A whole sausage would be a serving size for Garvis, maybe two of them. We tie them together. But most people will just have a half, and then they'll come back and get another one, and they'll come back and get another one. Maybe the serving size is the whole jar. If you try these, I guarantee you it'll keep everybody out of it. Now I think I got you dialed in. Let's open the pack. Get your knife off. See if we can get into these things. And this is easy. And it's so good. You come in from hunting or from working in the garden or whatever you're doing, and you get you one of these sausages out of this jar, and that's a good snack before supper time. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just take mine, and I'm just going to cut them on the diagonal in half, just like this. And then take and start throwing them in the jar. Now, if you wanted some onions in there, or peppers in there, or anything you want to put in these, give them another pack here. Get us a few more out. Cut them up. Stuffing them in the jar. Not too tight, not too loose. I was able to get 6 whole sausages in this jar. So I'm going to continue to cut up all my sausage And I'm going to get it packed in the jar, and then we'll move on to the brine. Alright, so we got all the sausages in the jars. I've got 2 of the kielbasa style and 2 of the other style that I'm going to try. Now, I've never pickled these before, but I'm going to give it a try. They were a big pack. They were fairly economical, so if they turn out good, then this might be my go-to. But we'll see. You're going to have to experiment just like I do. Like I told you before, earlier in the video, I've got a base brine that I use in a certain ratio to give me the flavor that I like. Feel free to adjust that any way you want to. I'm going to add the ingredients that I use into these sausages. But if you want to put some garlic or some additional hot pepper, make you some jalapeno sausages, extra onion, anything you want to put in these. It's just like pickling eggs. You put in it what you like, but I'm going to show you the base recipe. Now, you know we're talking about pickled, and we're not talking about fermented, so we're talking about vinegar. We're going to use vinegar. Let me show you how to get the right amount of vinegar for these sausages. So take your vinegar. We got to get this open. This is a new jug. If you want to use apple cider vinegar, you can use any kind of vinegar you like, but we got to have some acidity. Now, this is not a shelf-stable product. This is going to be put in the refrigerator. I imagine if you can these, then they would be more shelf-stable. But we're going to put these in the refrigerator and we're going to eat them up. They ain't going to last very long. But the first thing that I do is take, and I'm going to pour vinegar, just straight vinegar, into each one of these jars. So we've got our vinegar. If we can keep from spilling it, we're going to pour it in here. And we're going to fill it up. Fairly close. This will minimize your waste. Because we don't know, with the variations of how I stuff the jar, we don't know how much vinegar we're going to need. And I'll show you why that's important. Once we get the vinegar in the jars, now we got to pour it out. But we're going to need a measuring cup. So I've got a measuring cup. I'm going to take, and now we're going to pour this vinegar into the measuring cup out of each one of these jars. Trying to leave the sausage in the jar. We'll set that aside. Those 2 jars give me a little more than 2 cups. I'm going to take that vinegar and I'm going to pour it in my pot. So we got 2 cups. Let's try the other 2. And we're going to get that. And we'll get that in the pot. Now we know that we've got just over a quart of vinegar. We had 2 cups in each one of these. And a quart, it says it right here on the side. A quart is 4 cups. Now we can get to our recipe. We know that we've got just over a quart of vinegar. So when we throw the seasonings in there, my recipe is divided up by quarts. When we throw the seasonings in there, since I was a little over, I'll go a little heavy, but I'll stay pretty close. So for a quart of vinegar in my brine, my recipe calls for 1 tablespoon of salt. We got our salt. Got a tablespoon. We're going to put a tablespoon of salt in there. Okay. Now my recipe also calls for 1/3 of a cup, packed down in there good, but make sure we get enough of it, of brown sugar. You use light brown, dark brown, darker brown, whatever kind of sugar, brown sugar, that you want to put in here, or you can omit it totally. But I'm going to put 1/3 of a cup of brown sugar. Now we're going to get a little spicy. This is some crushed red pepper that Michelle grew last year in the garden. This is cayenne. I'm going to use 2 tablespoons cayenne pepper in the pot. Now, we've got everything in the pot. That's the recipe. A quart of vinegar, we got a tablespoon of salt, 2 tablespoons of crushed red pepper, whatever kind you like. You can substitute any kind of pepper for that. And then we got 1/3 of a cup of brown sugar. And we're going to place that over here on the stove to heat up. We're not going to boil it. We're just going to let the ingredients get together, let the salt melt in here. We're going to stir it up a little bit. There again, we're not trying to boil this. The sugar and the salt will dissolve and be more even if you heat it up a little bit. Now, if you want to break this recipe down to where you're adding 1/4 of all these ingredients to each jar, that'd be fine. You wouldn't have to try to dilute the ingredients, the salt and the sugar. But if you don't, if you put it all in here together and you don't try to dilute it, you don't try to heat it up and make sure that everything's melted, the first jar won't have as much salt and sugar as the last one. This is a good opportunity to test your brine. Ooh. Before it gets too hot, you won't do that when it gets too hot. But, yeah, I like that. Now, naturally, the pepper is not done all its work yet, but the salt and the sugar, I can taste that, and I've got a pretty good balance. All right, as you can see, we're just getting a few wafts of steam off the top of that. And we've been stirring it periodically. That's ready. That's all you got to do. We'll turn that off. Now we got to put it in the jar. Got our jars here. If you got one of these, use it. It'll keep you from spilling it. And we're going to try to take, stir it around a little bit. We're going to try to take and fill the jars back up. I'm going to spread it around just a little bit. I'm going to pour each one of them about half because the pepper floats, and I want to make sure it's evenly distributed. Sorry about that. I'm right in your way here. Let me pour it this way. There you go. Let's wipe the lids off. I got a little messy. We're going to wipe the lid off. And you know them canning lids that you took off something earlier and you throw them in the drawer? We're not canning this. We're not expecting it to seal. We just want a lid on top. So that's a good use for your previously used canning lids if you got any. If you was using a small jar, you could use a mayonnaise lid. They even sell plastic lids for these ball canning jars that you could use. We're not trying to can. We're just got a container. Top, we get our lid on there, and we're going to tighten it down so that it don't leak out. Now, I'm going to do the rest of these, but I'm going to do them off camera. This is what we ended up with. Some amazing, these are hot, they got some pepper in them, pickled sausage. You guys give this recipe a try. I guarantee you that you won't regret it. And if you do a good job, your buddies will tell you, you'll take these, you know that you got some friends coming over, set you a jar out, put them out, get them out of the refrigerator, set them out here on the counter. When they come in, y'all sitting around talking, offer them one. If they get one and they just eat one, well, you know you got a little work to do. But more than likely, you're gonna have to put them up, they'll eat them all. So, until next time, this is Brine with Cliffside Outfitters. Y'all have a good day.